What's up YouTube, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and in this video we're going to be looking at the key differences between the iPhone 7 and the Samsung Galaxy S7. A few of you have asked me for this video, and hopefully at the end of this video you'll know what the key differences are and which one is right for you. So let's get straight into it. The S7 is slightly larger compared to the iPhone 7, around 4.1mm in terms of the height, 2.5mm in terms of the width, and it's also 0.8mm thicker. The bigger device overall, but that is because it has a larger display, 5.1 inches versus 4.7 inches on the iPhone 7. There's different technologies here as well. We've got Super AMOLED on the S7, and on the iPhone 7 you've got an LED backlit display, so similar to last year, but it has been improved, so you've got a wider color gamut. And the S7 has been praised for its display. Super AMOLED displays are generally a lot more colorful compared to LED displays. Now the iPhone 7 does have 3D touch, however, so you can push down harder on certain apps and things, and that's going to give you more options. So it does add another dimension of interactivity with your smartphone. Quite a nice touch. And the S7 has an always on display, so if you want to leave your time and maybe your calendar, and it will show certain notifications as well just at a glance on your desk. Now this hasn't been updated to what we have on the Note 7, so you don't have notifications from apps and things as yet. Hopefully that will come soon. Now one area where the S7 wins hands down is on the resolution. You've got Quad HD, so that's 2560 by 1440, around about 576 ppi pixel density. Now if you compare that to the iPhone 7, which still has the same resolution, so that's 1334 by 750 and roughly about 326 ppi, there's a massive difference here. The S7 is the clear winner here with much sharper images compared to the iPhone 7. This has been the case for the past few years. Now I know pixel density isn't a big deal for most people, but if you do look up close you're going to notice a difference for sure, especially if you're going to be using things like VR. Now the S7 is also slightly heavier, 14 grams, and we've got differences in build as well. The S7 has a metal frame with Gorilla Glass panels on the front and back, and the back is actually curved, so this actually makes it a little bit easier to hold in the hand. The iPhone 7 on the other hand has a very similar design to last year, so the iPhone 6 and 6S. I personally did want to see a bit more of a refresh. This time around we have the antenna bands redesigned, so they are not running across the back as they were last year, but relatively speaking it is a similar design. We also have two new colors this time. We have a sort of matte black as well as a jet black. One great thing this year is that both are water and dust resistant. So the iPhone 7 is IP67 water and dust resistant. The Samsung Galaxy S7 is IP68, so it's got a slightly higher rating, so you're going to be able to take it a little bit deeper for a little bit longer in water. I'm not sure exactly how much of a difference it's going to make to day-to-day usage, but it's great to see that both are water and dust resistant. Now looking inside both of these, what's powering them? Well, on the S7 we have either the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 or the Exynos version, depending on which market you're from. On the iPhone 7 we have Apple's A10 Fusion chip. Now this has quad cores this time, so you've got two cores which are not as powerful, and you've got two more powerful cores, and this is supposed to save battery depending on what applications that you're using. In terms of RAM, we have 4GB on the S7. We're not sure exactly what RAM we have on the iPhone 7. I believe it's 2GB, but this has not been confirmed by Apple. Now in terms of performance, we are going to have to test these side by side. You have to remember that the iPhone 7 is not pushing out anywhere near the number of pixels that the S7 is, so this is definitely going to have an impact on performance, and loads of these other things in terms of software optimization and things do go into it, so these will all come into play. And the iPhone 6S was pretty fast, especially in terms of multitasking and reopening apps when I did do my test last year, so that is something to bear in mind. Now in terms of storage, the S7 has 32GB as a base model, and you do have a micro SD card slot, so you can expand that storage. On the iPhone 7 they have finally got rid of 16GB. I'm so glad that this has happened. If it hadn't happened, I would have not bought the iPhone 7, because that would have been a big disappointment in this year. But we do have 32GB as a base, and then you also have a 128GB model as well as a 256GB model. Now you're going to have to pay extra for those additional storage options on the iPhone 7. On the S7 the advantage here is that you won't have to spend as much, because you can just pick out a micro SD card And if you do go for the base model of the iPhone 7, then you're going to be stuck with that. And if you do need more storage, there's not really much you can do. Whereas on the S7, you can just go ahead and expand that. So the advantage for storage, I would give to the S7. Now let's look at the cameras. This year, it's going to be more of a competition than ever. The S7 has a 12 megapixel rear facing camera with an f1.7 aperture and optical image stabilization. Now this has been one of the best cameras of 2016, hands down. It's the same one that's used in the S7 Edge as well as the Note 7, and it's been praised everywhere. It produces some great quality images. The iPhone 7 has 12 megapixels as well with optical image stabilization this time. This is something we didn't have last year, and an f1.8 aperture. So very similar here in terms of the specs. It's going to be very interesting to see what the differences are, and if you want to see a camera comparison between these two, then do hit that thumbs up button to let me know, and make sure you are subscribed to see that SuperSaf style. Now the S7 does have dual pixel autofocus. Now this is the fastest that I've seen on any smartphone, so we'll have to test out the autofocus speed because you still only have the standard autofocus that we had last year on the iPhone 7. However, you do have a quad LED flash. The True Tone flash has been updated and is much brighter than last year. So if you are somebody who uses the flash more on your smartphone, then the iPhone 7 should be beneficial. Now in terms of video, both of these do film up to 4K, which is great. The iPhone 7 does have some more slow motion options, so you've got 1080p at 120 frames a second. You've only got 1080p at 60 frames a second on the S7. In terms of front-facing cameras, we've got some improvements here as well. On the iPhone 7, we have 7 megapixels this time, which I was not expecting. On the S7, you've got 5 megapixels, an f1.7 aperture on the S7, and an f2.2 aperture on the iPhone 7. Once again, we are going to have to put these side by side. You've got the resolution here on the iPhone 7, whereas you have a wider aperture on the S7. In terms of video, we finally have 1080p on the iPhone 7. This is something that we have seen a first of this year. Previous years, Apple have just given a 720p, which I just do not get why they had this for so long. So it's good to see that they finally upgraded that to 1080p. On the S7, however, you do have Quad HD, so 1440p, so you've got a high resolution for video from the front-facing camera. Now for the operating systems, you've got Apple iOS 10 on the iPhone 7. On the S7, you've got Android Marshmallow with the TouchWiz skin on top. There's nothing about the update, when we're going to be getting the update to Android N. I'm not sure when that will be, and that's something that you're going to have to bear in mind, that if you do go with the S7, you're not going to be getting updates straight away from Google. They are going to have to come through from Samsung, whereas on the iPhone 7, you're going to be getting those updates straight away from Apple. However, in terms of the features, obviously that's going to come down to your personal preference. I'm not going to go into a battle here. Now in terms of additional features, both of these do have a fingerprint scanner on the home button. The S7 has a physical home button which you can push down. On the iPhone 7, this time it's not a physical button, it's a force sensitive button, so this is going to give you taptic feedback, so it's quite different to what we had last year. If you want to see a fingerprint scanner speed test between these two, SuperSaf style, then let me know in the comment section below. Now in terms of audio, there's some differences here as well. The iPhone 7 has stereo speakers this time, so you've got 2 speakers, whereas on the S7 you've got a single bottom facing speaker. Now the bottom facing speaker on the S7 isn't great, to be honest, and it can be covered easily, so the iPhone 7 would get the edge here. And you do not have a headphone jack this year on the iPhone 7. This is something which was all but confirmed, but now it has been confirmed. And if you do want to use headphones, then you're going to have to use Lightning headphones. Lightning earpods are included in the box, which is a nice touch. And you also get a Lightning converter. So if you've got your existing headphones, you can still use those. But if you're charging your phone, then you're not going to be able to use those headphones. That is something that's a bit of a disadvantage. You can get wireless headphones, obviously, to overcome that. But if you are somebody who likes wired headphones, and you also like to listen to music and things when you are charging your phone, then you're not going to be able to do that on the iPhone 7. Just something to bear in mind. Now in terms of the battery, the S7 has a 3000 mAh battery. The iPhone 7, they've not specified the exact size. I'd expect it to be between 1700 to 2000 mAh, and that is because it's the exact same size as the iPhone 6s in terms of physical dimensions, so the battery is likely to be roughly about the same, although you are supposed to have some improvements over last year. So you are getting roughly about a 50% larger battery on the S7. Usage wise, it will depend. Remember, you are working with so many more pixels on the S7, so you are going to be using that much more battery power. So this will really depend from person to person, and we will have to do some more specific battery tests to see the differences here. The advantage that you have with the S7 is that you do have fast charging as well as fast wireless charging. So if you need a quick top up, and for me personally, this is very, very useful. So if I'm going to be going out somewhere and I need a quick top up, I can just leave this on charge for half an hour and it will give me a good boost of 40 to 50%, which is really, really cool. And on the iPhone 7, we do not have this option, which is quite a bit of a shame. I would have liked to have seen fast charging at least on the iPhone 7. Wireless charging is also useful. So if you just want to drop your phone on your desk where you've got wireless charger, that's just going to start charging it straight away without any wires. And you've also got fast wireless charging, so it does charge it up quite a bit faster if you have Samsung's fast wireless chargers on the S7. This is not available on the iPhone 7. Now finally, looking at the price, the S7, you can pick it up for around about £550 here off contract, or roughly about $650 in the US. So it has been out for a few months, and this price is likely to also drop a little bit more going forward. With the iPhone 7, it's going to be coming at £600 here in the UK, around about $650 in the US on launch. So you're going to be paying roughly similar sort of prices. You're going to be paying a little bit more for the iPhone 7, especially here in the UK and in the coming months, because it is a newer device. So that is just something to bear in mind. But generally speaking, it is roughly about the same pricing, that flagship price. And the iPhone 7 is going to be available from the 16th of September, whereas the S7 is currently available everywhere. So there we have it, the comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S7 and the iPhone 7. Those are all the key differences. Now, both are pretty promising devices here. And this year you are going to be paying about the same, and there's lots more comparable things such as the camera specs as well as the base model. You now have 32 gigabytes on both, so it's going to come down to your personal preference. Which one do you like better? Drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then please do hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me out. If you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe. I know you guys want to see a camera comparison between these two, and I will do that as soon as I have the iPhone 7 fully in hand. So make sure you have subscribed to see that first. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.